Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. We've got Rager here pointing this out, okay? He says, I'm at the point where I'm like, this is boring with the slow bleed and I just want to sell everything. It's times like these where also there tends to be a bounce for relief sometime in the near future, even if it's not immediate. So my advice is to take it day by day and level by level as much as you can. Try not to let emotions play into your decisions. This slow bleed has been brutal, I got to admit. This is the Bitcoin chart on the 1 hour, and we have just been dipping and dipping and dipping since last Monday. Okay, today is Tuesday, November the 18th, but since early last week when Bitcoin was still trading above $100,000 per coin, we have just seen it being drained and drained and drained and drained and drained, and it's been going down slowly. It has not been, that quick whip. Generally, when we see a huge move to the downside very quickly, we do see that V-shaped recovery very fast, and guys, we're not seeing that right now. It has been this slow drip. Altcoins are coming down with Bitcoin, and fear and greed is now at 15. We've got the market cap closer to 3 trillion than it is to 4 trillion now. That's not a good sign. Bitcoin is down 4.25%. We got Ethereum down 4.64%. XRP within the last 24 hours, that's down 3.83%. Most of the altcoins are down today. Hyperliquid's up 4.84%. We got a few other ones that are up, but as you guys can see, it is a sea of red out there. Not what we were expecting at this point in the cycle, Q4 2025, but Raul Pal here giving us some confidence. I wanted to put the current sell-off into perspective. He says BTC corrected in 2024, 32%, in 2025, 32%, and right now it is around 28%. So he says this is normal. You've lived it before. Solana has corrected 47%, 67%, and currently it is at 48%. Sui corrected 69% in 2023, 79% in 24, 68% in 25, and now, guys, it's currently down 64%. Technicals are flamboyantly oversold. Sentiment is in the crapper too, the worst I've seen in this cycle. This is the weird thing. At this point in the cycle, we should be seeing exuberance, and we're not. We are seeing fear and greed. Well, obviously, it's at 15. Let's bring up XRP currently. XRP just following Bitcoin at the moment. On Monday, we were sitting in around $2.50, just above $2.50, $2.55, give or take. XRP has been seeing that slow bleed as well. So following Bitcoin over the last week, I got to say, it has not been a fun week for anybody in the crypto space. And sentiment, I think, is showing that right now. One XRP currently going for $2.17 per coin. Don Trades Crypto, he pointed this out with regards to the CME gap. Okay, guys, it has now closed. So yesterday we did see that closed as markets did reopen. If you guys don't know what the CME gap is, and you've been hearing a lot about it, I thought I'd just bring this up just to give you guys a bit of a definition here. Okay, so the CME gap, or a CME gap, is a price difference that appears on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for Bitcoin futures. The Bitcoin futures chart when trading reopens after a closure, and the price is significantly different from the previous closing price. Remember, crypto markets are 24/7, but the CME only trades during business hours, so that gap has to be filled, or generally it doesn't have to be filled, but it gets filled. And so this is what they mean by filling the gap. They often act as a signal for future price movement as well, with an historical tendency for gaps to eventually be filled when the price moves back to the previous range. So we have now seen that gap being filled. The S&P 500, or the SPX, is also a key metric here that analysts are looking at when it comes to crypto prices. Moon Lambo here saying if the SPX surges to some degree in late November, will crypto follow? And he was just retweeting out Ryan's tweet down here. Late November is historically a strong time of the year. Assets tend to rally. But guys, the S&P 500 looking kind of double toppy, dare I say. Here, this is market hasn't opened yet. Currently, if you look over here, pre-trade is underneath yesterday's close, and yesterday's close was down. And as I'm seeing this on the chart, it is looking like a double top that could not get back up to its high, at least on the daily chart. I mean, it's still yet to be determined here. What was that retrace? Up to the 0.786. So it did go back up to the 0.786, and now it's retesting these lows, but it does look like that double top. Who knows what the future is going to bring? If you guys want to hear what I'm doing in the moment, follow me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It's only $5 a month. This is a critical time, guys. Is the market going to go back up? How much XRP am I going to be saving for the long term? 2, 3, 4-digit XRP, baby. Are we getting there? Patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. It is only $5 a month, but you got to subscribe and stay subscribed to lock into that price. South Koreans aren't panic selling, at least. They're panic buying. This from X Finance Bull. Upbit, Korea's largest cryptocurrency exchange, is leading global spot volume by a mile. Check this out, guys. Do they know what's coming up? Upbit, $264.42 million in XRP volume. Okay, so that is outpacing Coinbase, Bitstamp, Bybit, Crypto.com, Gatecracken, etc. Even Binance is down 246.7 million. So that's interesting. That is an interesting metric considering the population of Korea is not even that large. They're buying the dip, guys. They are buying. So I don't know. Maybe it is a sign that the market's going to rebound. I remember when Bitcoin ended its run in November of 2021. I wanted to bring this up from the blockchain backer. Everyone thought it wasn't the top all the way down to $33,000. Then it bounced and chilled for about 4 months. And then we had all the drama. The Luna collapse, okay? UST, Celsius, 3AC. Who was here for this? Put it down in the comment section. I remember this. This was insane. FTX was the final nail in the coffin. And he says, though, that didn't all happen till the next leg came in. I remember that happening. I think it started in, if I'm not mistaken, April or May of 2022. And if you guys remember, okay, I'm just going to bring up Bitcoin and we're going to go back in time here, back to 2022. This was the time. Yes, it was here. This was the time where we got all that narrative stuff. So Bitcoin double topped in November of 2021, started rolling down, made a low. We did see a retrace by February. It was ranging for a while, as blockchain backer said. It actually made a new high. And then we got the narrative, the news narrative. And then boom, this one was FTX down in here, which brought us to our bottom back in November, December 2022. So he's just bringing up a point here that the first leg was catalyst free. So when we look at Bitcoin today, guys, and we're taking a look at the trajectory of Bitcoin currently. I mean, it's not looking great, but, it is down. And, blockchain backer has had a pretty good record of calling these things. I mean, maybe a little early, however, better early than never. 28% almost. Bitcoin is down. I mean, it did go down as much as almost 30%. Price has retraced a little bit for Bitcoin. Currently, we are, I think we even hit $89,000. Now we're currently at 91.3. But anyway, just to remind you what 2021 was like if you guys were not here. So just be mindful. I know it's crazy because narrative is so super positive, but a lot of this stuff could take time. Altcoin Daily posting this, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, a generational opportunity. Matt Hugin explains why he thinks buying cryptos now is a good idea.
How much of a long-term buy do you think this is?
I think it's a generational opportunity for long-term investors, whether you're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Solana. To double down on what Tom said about Ethereum specifically, look, I think investors are very nervous broadly about the economy, about AI valuations, about tariffs, about the broad economy. You want to look for secular trends that are decoupled from that. I think regardless of what happens on the economy in the next year, stable coins will grow tremendously. I think regardless of what happens, tokenization will, maybe 10x in the next few years. Prediction markets are going to be huge. Decentralized identity and digital identity are going to be huge. Ethereum lets you play those secular trends, which are in this enormous growth phase, almost regardless of what's happening in the broader economy. So for me, it's really, it's a generational opportunity. And to get in at these prices, I think really is almost a gift for long-term investors. It's a tremendous opportunity.
I don't know. Is he one of those guys that's trying to get you to buy in on the falling sword? And by falling sword, I think that's the term. It's when you think it's the dip and it's going to go up, but then it just keeps going down and down and down. And you shouldn't have bought this dip. You should buy in accumulation zones. Again, something I'm working on for my Patreon subscribers. When do we buy back in if this, in fact, is the end? So again, you guys can follow me, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. Don't be left behind, guys. Bitcoin bottom this week. This confirmed by Tom Lee. So he's saying we're still in a bull market. I don't know about these guys. Listen to this.
I think the good news is there are signs of exhaustion. I did speak with Tom DeMark of DeMark Analytics, and he thinks there are signs that would look like a bottom that could be occurring sometime this week.
Matt, do you agree with Tom here?
I actually do exactly agree with Tom. I think we're nearing a bottom. I look at this as a great buying opportunity for long-term investors. You know, Bitcoin was the first thing to turn over before this broader market pullback. It was sort of the canary in the coal mine, signaling that there was some risk in all sorts of risk on assets. I think it'll be the first thing to bottom, and I agree with Tom. We're getting very close to that point. So I think it's an exciting opportunity, again, for people who are looking out a year or more into the future.
So you had Tom Lee at the top of the clip, and then Matt Hugin kind of reiterating the same thing that he was saying in that last clip here. Interesting how these guys are looking at it. I mean, we do have tailwinds. I'm not going to lie. The narrative is set up. Coinbase CEO Brian Armstrong says crypto market structure bill is nearly done with only about 10% left before it clears committee by Thanksgiving. If passed, this could be the end of regulation by enforcement and replace it with real workable rules for crypto, clear token taxonomy plus compliant paths, proper market oversight for spot trading, transparent disclosure, and custody standards. This is what we need for those big institutional dollars to come into the space.
Yeah, well, we had great meetings with the Democrats in the Senate and on the Republican side today. And the good news is that there's strong bipartisan support and will to get this market structure legislation done. It's important for America, and the 50 million Americans who've used crypto want to see it get done. And so one date we heard floated was, let's try to get this markup done before Thanksgiving. I think that there's 90% of the issues are already aligned on and agreed, and there's draft text going back and forth, a lot of great cross-functional collaboration happening. That last 10% are the remaining issues, and everyone committed to get in the room together and work it out, and hopefully we'll see some draft text or get it out of committee by Thanksgiving.
So that's the idea. Hopefully these guys can get it done. Wanted to thank Crypto's Russ. Wanted to thank Altcoin Daily, Blockchain Backer, Ex-Finance Bull, Moon Lambo, and Ryan Detrick. Who's this? Dan Crypto Trades, Raul Pal, and Rager for all those great tweets. Now, here's the thing. We're going to get a lot of XRP staggered ETFs released in the coming days, guys. Pumpy is bringing this up, and I'm kind of on the fence about this. I was thinking, yeah, that's going to bring a lot of demand for XRP. I'm curious because out of the gate, how much demand is there going to be? I know the first one that came out, the Canary Capital XRP ETF. First day, first XRP ETF. Very positive news. Did it break the internet? Not really. So everyone is celebrating the new XRPM ETF, but let's be honest, this is not bullish for XRP price itself. This is what Pompeius is saying here, because the fund does not buy or hold XRP at all. So this is different than the Canary one. Zero spot demand, he says here, zero token accumulation, zero effect on supply shock. Instead, it generates income by selling call options on XRP volatility, which means the fund profits when XRP stays range-bound. The fund dampens upside by harvesting volatility, and the fund attracts investors who want yield, not XRP appreciation. So that's what he's noticed here, okay? In simple terms, it monetizes XRP volatility without creating any buying pressure on XRP, which is not exactly what we want. Financial products grow. XRP price does not. Until we see spot-backed ETFs or real on-chain liquidity demand, products like this are great for Wall Street, but irrelevant or even negative for price acceleration. So this is Pompeius' take on this. This is the Amplify XRP ETF, 3% monthly premium income ETF. Why invest in this? So here we have some details. Growth and high income focus. This ETF is designed to capture XRP price appreciation potential and seek 36% annualized option premium income, so generating yield. 4x more options. XRPM uses weekly call options, seeking to call premiums 4x or 4 times more often than monthly options, enabling the potential for compounded income and enhanced XRP price returns. Here they say they want to harvest the volatility. When XRP price volatility rises, XRPM option income potential increases using volatility to help enhance premium income and total returns. So they're using this as a vehicle, not so much to change or to gobble up XRP, which would change the supply and demand dynamics. They're using it as a different mechanism, and I'm wondering if this is going to be true for these other ETFs coming down the pike. So XRPM, is it bullish? Well, Pompeius is on the fence about this. And now, guys, we also have this from Chad Steingraber, staggered release. We have EZRP. Okay, yes, the COB has approved the Franklin Templeton XRP ETF, which is scheduled to begin trading today. Markets are not open yet as of the time of this recording, but today is November the 18th. Under the ticker symbol EZRP, the approval is part of a wave of new XRP US spot ETFs launching on major exchanges, and the CBOE is one of the exchanges where the Franklin Templeton Fund will be listed. So trading details, we have the fund is set to trade on the CBOE BZX exchange with the ticker symbol EZRP, as I said. Launch time scheduled for November 18th. Also, regulatory approval. While the SEC does not formally approve crypto ETFs in the same way as traditional products, Franklin Templeton has followed a streamlined process similar to other recent ETFs by removing the delay amendment. Okay, this clause is from the S1 filing. This allows the ETF to become effectively automatic once the filing is complete without a separate explicit SEC approval date. So that is what we're to look forward to today, guys. We're going to have this staggered release. Ripple Bullwinkle taking a different approach than Pumpius, saying every ETF seed scenario. This is if every single ETF is like, I believe the Canary one is, so far the only one required to purchase the XRP. I don't know if we know details on the others. As we heard from Pumpius, it's not the case for XRPM. So, as Ripple Bullwinkle here, though, does predict whether it's 50 million or 900 million, this will push XRP into levels most still think are impossible. So inflows plus limited supply equals violent repricing of XRP. And just based on what looks like an AI-generated chart here, if we have supply of XRP in the billions, okay, and we have this over 0 to 12 months, then we have relative reduction in rate. Think about that for a second. If we're reducing the supply based on how many of these ETFs require to purchase XRP, again, we do not know the statistics on that, so that is still an X factor for us. He says we're going to see price increases by this amount, which would mean the price of XRP could range anywhere from where it is today, $2 and, it's lower than $2.45 to $15,160 per XRP. Sounds like a lofty goal. I do not think it's going to get that high on ETF supply and demand fundamentals. That is just wacky. I mean, I wish it could get that high. Doesn't everyone? I think it's going to take some time to mature, guys. I think the market still does need some time. I think, I know we're still trading in a speculative market. XRP up, a little bit right now, $2.18 per coin. Hopefully, we do see some more meaningful activity in the crypto market. It's relatively flat as of now. I'm keeping my eye on the prize, and if you guys want to hear more of my opinions on where XRP is going to go, you guys can follow me at patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. Check out the Working Money Channel merch store if you guys are interested in purchasing some Working Money Channel merch. Link is in the description of the video. That's just my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.